Hello and welcome to another edition of the Almond View podcast. I am your host, Jake Pointer, and joined with me tonight are my lovely pals, Owen Innes, Thomas Fro, and Stephen Povey.
Hello. Hello
Yo!
there.
On this week's episode, we're going to be reviewing the glorious 4-2 victory up in Perth with a brace from our very own James Penrice and Stephen Kelly. Also, we're going to be continuing on the mega positive Povey vibes tonight as we then discuss the amazing ladies' game at the Tony Mac with a 4-1 victory over Ayr. We will then be giving our own thoughts on the two big new arrivals into the Lions Den. And lastly, we'll be showcasing our brand new feature of Would You Rather, where we make weird scenarios about Livingston as a whole. Now, it's class that we are the best team in the world and are 100% going to Europe. Okay, maybe let's not get too excited, but let's relish in the warmth of victory. Grab your headphones, run yourself a warm bath and get ready for how many minutes of pure positive living mental health with us here at the Almond View podcast. So, boys, an absolute belter of a weekend for us, which continues our unbeaten run. Tam, I'm going to go to you first. Just in general, how good is Stephen Kelly? Another two great goals. Difficult to not kind of start him every game at the moment.
Yeah, he's really came on, hasn't he? I think we all kind of talked a while ago that we were really impressed with the impact he was making. Probably all said that wouldn't start him every game, but right now he's probably the first person on the team sheet. He's been absolutely brilliant. I think he's definitely stepped up while we've had the suspensions, and he's become an absolute mainstay in that midfield. I think I was watching the Sports Scene highlights, and I thought the analysis was spot on. He obviously has played a bit deeper, but the way he was getting into the right areas, from an attacking sense, was brilliant, and it's something that we definitely want to see him do more. It's something that we've seen Pitts do a lot. Gets into those areas at the edge of the box, kind of drifts into those spaces, and obviously Pitts has maybe lacked the finishing a little bit this season, but the finishes were absolutely brilliant. I loved the one across the goalkeeper in the bottom corner. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. First time, it's filthy, so good, so hard to do, as we learned in our wee video as well. It's not an easy skill to hit a moving ball like that, especially right into the corner. Hack would have probably saved it though, to be fair.
100% would have saved it. I was going to just add to that, Tam, if you kind of talk through maybe the first goal as well. I think what we've seen in Livingston in the past is, see, when he was getting that ball, we maybe would have panicked a little bit and maybe hit that first time, just showing the confidence again to take that extra cut in that touch and hit. It just shows the kind of confidence he's got at the moment, eh?
Oh yeah, for sure. It was very, very composed, and I think you're right. I think it has been something that we've maybe missed. Certainly in those areas, we know that Brucey's great around the 6-yard box. He'll finish everything, but from those areas at the edge of the box where we do find space, especially against teams with really shit defences, aka St Johnstone, we are going to get that room, especially with how kind of good we are out wide. Mm-hmm. That is always an option. So yeah, it was brilliant. Great to see the composure and a good finish as well. Can't complain.
Yeah, no, positive vibes for Mr. Kelly. So, Owen, I may be speaking kind of too soon here, but I felt we have been a little bit unlucky with kind of certain points in this season, and I also feel in the last two games we've maybe been slightly lucky with missed chances and teams kind of playing a bit shite. Would you agree with that, or do you think Livingston make our own luck?
Very interesting question. One that I can't immediately think of an answer for. I think, if we go back to the St Mirren game particularly, I thought we were brilliant in the first half. Second half, we started it really, really well, and then after they went down to 10 men, they kind of came into the game a little bit more. But we have not been playing very well throughout the last few games up until up until Ross County, and I mean, just basing it on what my dad said anyway, I mean, Povey can maybe shed a little bit light on this, but he was at the St Johnstone game on Saturday and said that the first goal was very much against the run of play. So, but, I think having someone like Stephen Kelly, because, two goals and an assist in a team where, as Thomas said, he wasn't to come in to be first choice or, to be in the starting 11 every single week, and he's really, really done that. To get 2 goals and an assist in one single game is very, very good. So I just think that it's a mixture of us maybe gelling a little bit more, perhaps getting players back, although, of course, Pittman and Holt didn't start. They were there. The last kind of couple of games before Saturday, it really was like we were kind of down to our bare bones. So I think the players knew and expected that there would be more chance of them playing like a full 90 minutes worth of football. So they were kind of getting tired, whereas I think having players like Holt and Pittman back, even though they were on the bench, kind of gave the players that little bit more idea that they can put a full 100% into the game, because they know that if they end up tied in as the game goes on, that someone of quality is going to be able to come on to replace them. So I think that, mixed with the fact that, quite possibly without a doubt, I mean, St Johnstone are just they're awful. Like, I hate to go back to the cup final, but I mean, how on earth did they win 2 cup finals that year? And they've just been absolutely woeful since. And yet their goalkeeper is terrible. Their defence is awful.
Yum, 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 yum.
So I think it kind of helped that St Johnstone were not particularly that good. And Stevie May didn't seem to be causing us the usual problems that he seemed to cause us over the last kind of season and a half or so. So I think we're in a good position now that we've got players coming back. Even Guthrie came on. Well, Anderson went off injured, so I haven't heard anything about that. So hopefully that's not too serious. But I think we're getting over that slump, and everyone's kind of getting back into playing games again. And I think we're going to be fine as the next few weeks progresses. Very difficult games coming up the next few, but I don't think we're making our own luck now. I think we're just as good as we can be.
Cool. I like all of what you just said. A lot of positive. Now, let's move over to the most positive man on this positive podcast. Stephen Povey, you had a really nice day at Perth, I think. Talk us through the day. You probably had a good pre-match. I think you were with Connor, or were you with some other folk as well?
I was with Connor and his dad and Paul, PJ as well. So I went for a wee lunch, and I actually drove, so nothing too mental from me, but it was quite a nice drive up, and then it just we were walking from wherever we were at for lunch, can't mind, just along from the stadium, and it pished it down. And then it's sort of you got this feeling oh, this game could be grim. But of course, I would kind of disagree with your dad in a way, in that I thought the first 2 minutes we were looking really sharp, started really well. Yeah, they got a corner, they got a couple of wee chances, but the game was sort of just settling down, and we scored nice and early, and obviously we got the second goal no long after, and we were just unbelievable. It was such a good first half. I was really chuffed to see us start with the same lineup, because after that Ross County, despite what we said about the performance maybe not being quite as good, those guys were brilliant in that starting lineup. And at half time, I remember saying to my mate Walshy, who I was with, who took his son actually, so Jaden, he's a season ticket holder, that was his first away game. It's what a brilliant first. He's come to everyone.
He can come back for sure.
He's coming back. So I was saying at half time, look at that. Look at them warming up. That's the best 7-a-side team you could bloody get. It was an unbelievable bench. But Yeah, it was really good, and I'd say the conditions were minging. It was horrible driving back, by the way. I hope all the Livy fans that made it got back all right because it was rancid. But yeah, really good performance. Thought Omiyonga once again unbelievable. Really happy with Penners uh, as well, working well with Stephen Kelly on the left hand side. It's just totally. It's going to be interesting to see like how we go moving, who we play moving forward. Because honestly, like yeah, Newblade would have been ideal, but I think a lot of points have been covered. Like the St Johnston defense was honestly the worst I've seen this season. It was like when you're playing FIFA and like it's like the run button was broken. Like it's like they didn't have R1 working or something like that.
That's a great analogy.
We were just it was scary some of their defending and some of the dodgy pass backs again and like really that the pressing thing that we do that like making the most of it. I don't think we did it as much when we came out in the second half. I don't think we pressed as well. And then obviously the subs that came were important at that time. Probably should have been done straight after the first goal, to be honest. But fair play. Davey made the changes and they were needed. And despite what I said about Guthrie the other week, like we'll never see him again. I was like, oh bloody typical. he's like, literally playing the next game, and he done all right. Like it was as. I reckon Gongalves could have probably done all right, though, to be honest. It was almost a shame he never played that game. Genuinely, their defence was minging. So, so brilliant away day. And it's good to get 2 away games on the bounce, like win. We've not really won many away games. The only, I was at Kelly. I missed the Dundee United at the start of the season, but actually, it's looking like we're playing really well away from home now, so... Yeah, bring it on. Really positive.
That's good. I was just going to say, I saw a tweet from Carson at halftime who said it was the worst defensive performance in 45 minutes he's seen all season. So I had a feeling that they were absolutely humpty, but they don't really show that on the highlights. So it's good to hear that they're just minging, which is good, which in the long run helps us. So Owen, I'm going to jump back to you because you kind of mentioned in the run-up about Shamal made another great save to kind of keep us 2 up on Saturday. He's been excellent since kind of he's come back in. I mean, obviously Ivan did really well in the games, no complaints. It's almost a bit of a shame that we have replaced him again because he did so well. But Shamal is really keeping us in games and maybe adding to the overall kind of performance, especially now he's fully fit.
Yeah, he has been brilliant since he came back. Ivan, as I mentioned last week, didn't really do very much wrong, but he pulled off. Shamal pulled off an excellent save on Saturday to keep us 2-0 up. Again, I think he was quite kind of outsided by the initial shot, but he managed to get a wee claw on there, like the lion that he is. Can use that phrase again because I love it.
Rawr. You're definitely not keeping that in, but that was weird.
No, I think I'm going to keep that in. He was brought in as our number one. He's given the number one jersey, so he's definitely my number one. That's for sure. First name on the team sheet as keeper. He has been excellent since he's come back in. Doesn't look, thankfully, as though he's like playing through the pain barrier or any of that kind of nonsense. It seems as though he very much is like fit and rare and ready to go again. So it's only going to be good for us again with the next few very, very difficult games that we've got coming up.
Yeah, we will explain that Owen has had technical difficulties. He's not just like dropped his fucking microphone down the well into the water, into the depth of the sea.
I've just nipped into Tam's house.
Joined Tam down the wee well.
It's fun in here.
It's fun. It's dark and lonely. Okay, Tam, let's move over to you. Penners on the score sheet, brilliant. We championed him so much last season. He's had a fairly good season, but maybe not played so much with Montano playing so well. But yeah, just a lovely cheeky wee flick, and in the grand scheme, kind of saved our bacon, because you know what Livingston are like with a kind of 2-0 up kind of situation. You never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, I think I just want to mention one thing at first. Owen, did you say in one of the group chats that we had to have a discussion about whether he meant that flick?
Yes.
Fucking, of course he did. Have you seen it?
Here we go.
I'm just. It wasn't me saying. I'm like James Penrice's like third biggest fan. Because there's like at least 2 mascots this season whose favourite player has been James Penrice. So, I'm at least third on that chart. I was not in any way discussing whether or not he actually meant it. I'm saying I just thought that it would be worth bringing up on the podcast. I definitely think that he meant it.
Right, okay. Well, it's a quick discussion, because he definitely meant it. If he didn't mean it would be more impressive, to be fair. But, yeah.
Tell you, see, being there, I didn't have a bloody clue what had happened. Like, I was like, wait, what? Like, it was so weird in real time there. It was like Bruce Anderson getting it out in the from like through the corner out there, and then it was just like, had no idea how beautiful a goal it was, which he definitely meant. But yeah, it was one of those weird ones that watching it back was like, oh my God, I wish I'd seen that properly live.
The advantage of staying at home and not going to games is seeing how good that goal was. Which is obviously a pretty shit advantage of not being there. But no, it was class. Really composed finish. Yeah, composed is the word of the day. But no, it's instinct. It's just pure instinct, and it's brilliant. Like, I'm not sure he could even believe it, to be honest.
But then, his arms.
Yeah, moving on to the second one, that is an absolute thunder bastard. Don't bring that word out lightly, but that was a thunder bastard.
A thunder bastard. So an improvement on thunder twat from that wee guy that scored at Ross County?
Thunder bastard. There's the rating of 3 when it comes to, so you got thunder twat, thunder bastard, thunder cunt. So it's just below thunder cunt.
I think if it was further out, it could maybe have been a thunder cunt. I think a thunder cunt needs to be outside the box.
Oh, I don't know. I think it needs to.
It needs to be at least 33 yards outside the box.
Okay, let's move away from the thunder things that we've been discussing. So, in typical Livy fashion, Povey, we conceded 2 quick goals. You kind of mentioned before, could boys kind of maybe have done better, but you did kind of mention that he overall did have a decent game. And actually, so I've got a double barrel. Should he have done better, but you kind of mentioned that you wouldn't start him against Dundee United. Discuss.
Yeah, well, you've just said everything there, but yeah, he could have done better. And with the goal, I think he overall had a brilliant game, and he had a great game against Ross County as well. By the looks of it, I never saw that game in full, but yeah, it's. But I just think with the Dundee United game coming up, they're so good going forward, and I think Obalai is quite a big game player, and I'd like to see him back. And like Boys is still young and he's good. He's getting game time. That's really important, especially with the run of fixtures. I don't think it's a bad idea, given we conceded 2 pretty. It was unfortunate from Shamal, like really good saves, but pretty cheap goals to give away when you're absolutely bumming St Johnstone. It's kind of like, it's frustrating that we put ourselves in that position. However, the way we bounced back and went attacking, and obviously the thunder, whatever it was, from Penners. But yeah, listen, I'm not adverse to it. I'm not saying, I want to see Obalai come in straight away. Like, I get the whole why shake it up if we're playing so well, but it was an error. And if we're saying Obalai's been dropped because 1 or 2 errors here and there, at the end of the day, like, Obalai's arguably been one of our best defenders in a long time, you know. So him and I feel like I've not seen him and Jack Fitzwater enough recently together. Like at Parkhead, they started together, but then Obalai got turfed off. So yeah, listen, Boyce is playing brilliant, so it would be a shame to drop him. But I'm not adverse to the Obalai thing. I think that's what I'm saying.
I kind of agree with Povey. What I can see Martindale doing if the game is on tomorrow is going with exactly the same starting 11 that started against St Johnstone, because it was the same starting 11 that started against Ross County. And I think by doing it that way, I think that we won't. I think it'll make it harder for us to win the game. Does that make sense? Because like we'll go with the tried and tested players that have won the last 2 games, but like Povey's saying, having Ayo in with his experience over Boys is probably a good idea. When you've got someone like Stephen Fletcher up front, and even like Dylan Levitt and stuff like that, who's his form kind of dropped off a little bit, but seems to be picking up again just now. So I wouldn't be surprised if Davey starts with the same 11, but I would also, in a way, I would not be surprised if there would be a couple of defensive style changes in there as well.
I would say as well, I don't know what you think, Tam, is David does like a macaroni matchup, and when he's against specific players, he'll know the strengths of Dundee United. He's really good at his analysis. They kind of focus on that quite a lot at Livingston. Do you think he will change it up? I believe he's actually going to stick with the first 11, I think, but you just don't know. What do you think?
Oh, that's a really tough one to answer. I think he might stick as well, to be honest. He does change things a lot, and I don't know, like it was mentioned earlier that we didn't really press as much in the second half, and that was maybe some of our issue. You wonder if it's a little bit of fatigue, and with it being a midweek game, wanting it to kind of give a couple of boys a rest. But it's a big game, so I think he'll stick. But I wouldn't be surprised to see changes. Just on the fence.
All of us on the fence. But apart from Bobby, we're all very fence sitting tonight. Climbed out of the well, onto the fence, and we'll stay there for the rest of the episode. Cool. That's all I've kind of got for the game. Are we kind of happy with that? One? Oh, go on, Bobby.
Well, I was just about to say, see, just on this Dundee United game, like, I was speaking to Big Al the other day, and we were like, obviously, there's a fair chance this United game is going to be called off because of the bloody ice or snow or whatever again. Now, we were like, it was him that reminded me. He was like, see, like, when Griffiths played for Dundee, so that era, and we were playing them, we had, like, fixtures postponed against Dundee at that time. And, like, this is, like, it kind of feels like the same's happening again. It's like, I would have loved to have played Dundee United at that opening game after the World Cup. Right now, we've just on the back of 2 wins. Really want to play them again. But, like, it just feels like, right, we came up with a bit of patter back then that Dundee have a snow machine that they put on anytime they don't want to play Livy. And it's like... And I swear, like, we just remembered that. We're like, God, are Dundee United borrowing the snow machine that Lee Griffiths used to put on? Like, it's like totally the Dundee snow machine is definitely on right now. But I really hope the game's on. And, like, obviously by the time this is out, the game's probably been played if it is on. But it's a really good time to play Dundee United and on the back of these wins. And you want to keep the momentum going. And obviously with the cup at the weekend, that's probably a good time to make plenty of changes, give folk a run. Because we're going to, let's be honest, we're not beating Stenhousemuir, there's something wrong. But...
Risky thing to say, Povey.
Well, it's true. Like, if we're not beating a League Two lower, like, if we're not doing that, there's something wrong. Even as I say, like, look at that 7-a-side team on the bench. Like that was. I mean, we should be making plenty of changes and winning that. I think Stenhousemuir is just going to be a big party, to be honest, for the fans.
Love that.
Absolutely. I think it's going to be an amazing day. So, like, also, I'll put this out there. Ross Coots has organised the plough in. There's going to be a really good party pre-match there. So if you're going to Stenhousemuir, I think it's only about a 5-minute walk away. A really good pub as well, by the way. But the function room at the back has been booked by Ross, and it should be like good lively vibes and plenty of pints. Great pub. So I recommend going there.
Yeah, no, that's got me written all over it. Like, I would love to be there, but I've got my birthday weekend away in Perth, so it's a bit annoying. So I was going to mention we had two things we're discussing about kind of episode titles. The new one in the mix has to be Dundee Snow Machine, but we were all laughing about Nuble's performance on CoComs. I don't know if everyone's had a chance to hear it. It's absolutely glorious. He is going Affy's nut when that fourth one goes in against some St Johnson fans. We heard Dave Black was having to like calm things down. He shouted, I mean, I'm not a Sue fan, but he pretty well. And I feel less solar from you. You'd have my head. So, what was your episode title?
I was suggesting the episode should be called Joel Subley.
Look at us. We are so clever. But,
Unbelievable,
but honestly, if you are listening back, go and check it. When you're listening back, it's so funny. He was going Affy's nut, and I think he is potentially on CoComs on tomorrow, potentially. So hopefully he's got the same big Sue energy, I guess.
That's definitely some information that we are privy to that no one else is privy to, because if he's doing CoComs, then of course that means he ain't on the bench.
Listen, we provide all the good info here. We are the number one podcast. Just joking. No, we're not. Another win for the ladies with goals from Anderson, a double from Dodds and Mulligan. I know Dodds did get our hat trick kind of chopped off, which she was best pleased about on Twitter. Tam, you were at the game distracting Blair, the creator of highlights, apparently just whispering shite in his ear the whole time. There's actual evidence of it. Yes. When you listen back. Tam, talk us through the game. Again, another really positive result for the Lionesses.
Yeah, so really big result. Was a bit sketchy at halftime, to be honest. I really like the starting lineup. Was really, really good on paper. But I don't know if it was just a bit of rustiness, but it didn't just seem to click in the first half. Obviously, the goal was great. I didn't probably appreciate how good it was until I saw it back on the highlights.
Mm-hmm.
Lovely we passed through and a good finish. But to be fair to Ayr, they were good. They pressed really high, really well. Didn't really give Livy a chance to kind of play the ball out as they can. Forced a lot of long balls. Livy kept on going for this diagonal, kind of trying to spread the ball wide.
Diags, they're getting diags.
Went for a wee diag. And it just wasn't working. It was actually really frustrating to watch because it was like the same ball over and over again, and the centre half just snuffed it out. It's so easy. But I think that is probably more a credit to Ayr, to be honest, because they did play really well, defended really well, cracking wee header for their goal, great delivery as well. But yeah, bit sketchy in the first half. Second half, much better. A few changes were made, and it kind of brightened up the team a little bit. The Ayr looked a bit done in the second half. They looked a bit fatigued, especially once the second goal went in. I think that was really the big turning point. Actually, the turning point was they were through on goal 2v2 when it was one each. And I can't remember who it was. It was either Fee or Tash played it perfectly. Like, didn't go too early to commit the player, so they had an easy pass across, but held off. And then Charlotte does a really good job once the ball had been played across for a 1v1. Charlotte did really, really well to kind of smother the chance out. So that felt like it could have been a big moment in a game, and lo and behold, no goal for Air, and Livy got the other end very, very quickly and score. And that was essentially the game done at that point. Obviously, 2-1, anything can happen, but yeah, Livy were by far and away the better side after that by a long way, and obviously got the goals quickly at the end of the game to kind of secure that off to win 4-1. You mentioned Jen being robbed of a hat trick, and you're absolutely spot on. I wasn't sure watching it for the side from my angle if she was offside. Probably thought she was, but watching the highlights, I'm not convinced she was offside at all. I think it's a bit of a shocker from the referee. The referee was a bit of a wank, to be fair. He's not the worst referee that they've had kind of decisions wise, one or two, not great, but just his kind of general demeanour, just a bit of a wank. Yeah, fuck him.
You're not really like, I don't think many people have ever said about referees, oh, he's a good guy. Like in the Scottish game, I don't know many people go, oh yeah, I really like that referee. I really like that Tory linesman. He's great. I like him.
Well, I don't know if I've told this story before, but I think it was the last game of last season for the women's team, and the referee, Livy won comfortably that day, but the referee had a really good game. He got the big calls right, was really good with his offsides. And I said to him, he came off the park like where I was standing, and I said, oh, I thought you had a really good game today, well done. 5 days later, he refereed me playing for GS, and he wrongfully disallowed a goal that I scored.
That's
I was climbing all over the centre half. The centre half is about 6'4". How the fuck am I meant to get up to the ball? So the moral of the story is don't be nice to referees because they won't be nice to you when it matters.
Brilliant.
Richie, if you're listening, I don't think you're a dick, but apart from that, the rest
Liam's who I've met. Liam's one of Liam's best pals as a referee, and he's actually a really sound guy. So I actually take it back. He's the only referee I know in Scotland that I quite like. But
it's when on the kit, they get a bit of a complex about them. I think get a wee power complex about them.
Oh really?
You never know what a referee's like until you've met him when he's in his kit with his wee SFA badge on his chest. Look at me, I work for the SFA.
Look at me,
all wankers.
Oh, wankers. Whoever worked for the SFA wanks.
I know.
Unless it's in the kit room, folding John McGinn's pants. Cool. So we kind of mentioned about the hat trick. So we're now 8 points clear at the top of the league. That's brilliant, especially coming in after a kind of a what was it? I think I saw in the post-match interview, 6 weeks off, was it?
Yeah.
First week, but getting a solid victory like that, a good performance at home is great. What's coming next? I think it's Rossvale, and is it away?
Yes, Rossvale away on Sunday. Obviously, a massive game. It would have been really interesting. The Rossvale were due to play Renfrew at the weekend, but it got called off with a frozen park. So that would have been really interesting to see where those two teams were at. And obviously, if there's a result in that game, or even a draw, it puts Livy even further clear, because I think Rossvale and Renfrew both have a game in hand on Livy now. But a big 3 points is a 6-pointer at the top of the table on Sunday, and I don't think Livingston have won through there over the last two seasons through at Rossvale. Beat them earlier in the season, obviously at home. But it's a really, really big game. A point would be all right, but 3 points would be absolutely massive on the kind of the road to the title. So huge game.
Brilliant. Nice one, Lionesses. Good luck for Sunday. If you are in the Rossvale area, make sure you go down and check the Lionesses out. And we'll check back in next week with a positive response. Feeling good? I reckon Livy win.
Yeah.
Livy win?
Yeah, can't wait for Tam to call the ref an arsehole again. Like.
Yeah.
So angry tonight, I love it.
Thing is though, you guys can't see it at home, but he looks really cute in this fluffy hoodie thing he's got on. Like, he just looks so relaxed, but at the same time so raging.
It's my default state. Relaxed but raging all the time. It's my secret.
We have a couple of new arrivals to the Lion's Den. First of all, last week we spoke about Marvin Bartley moving on to Queen and South, which we were pretty gutted about. Now, we've now have Christoph Berra, moved from the other side of Edinburgh, who's joined the Livy Lions. Obviously, 100% winning streak so far. When I announced it was him, I was pretty happy with it. I think it's another big name, another guy who wants to pursue his coaching career. I think pretty positive for me. Boys, what are your thoughts? Owen, we've not heard from you down the well for a while. What's your Christoph Berra thoughts?
Watched his interview. Seems very kind of positive, and I think he was on the same coaching. What do you call it? Coaching class as Marvin Bartley.
Of course.
And Davey was obviously looking to try and build like a coaching team that is going to be around for a while as well, as opposed to, because I think Davey was mentioning the fact, of course, we lost like Stuart Gardner, Liam Fox, Dougie Imrie, and now, of course, Marvin Bartley just in the last like 2 or 3 years. So I think, I think it's quite positive. When you look at Christoph's CV, what was it? Played for Scotland 12 times. Played football at pretty much the highest level for the majority of his career until, of course, he became terrible as a player. Got turned inside out 7 times by Dolly Menga. That resulted in like one of Dolly Menga's 2 goals or 3 goals that he ever scored for us. But I think it's a very positive thing to happen. Young coach, first job, so he'll be looking to impress, and yeah, I think it's a decent re-signing. If it was like as a player signing, I'd be like, nah, you're all right. But I think as a coach, I think he'll do pretty well. Bearing in mind, when Marvin Bartley started with us, he didn't have his coaching badges, but I think he'd started doing them early on. But so we're very good at taking sort of more inexperienced coaches and then turning them into really good coaches. So I think it's a very positive move for us.
Yeah, and surprised he even shows his face at the Tony Mac after having his pants pulled down by Dolly Menga in front of so many people, but fair play. So we've also, obviously great signing, we've got a guy who's been with us for a wee while since Turkey. We've got our Louis De Luca, another handsome bastard added to the roster. I think we'll all agree that him on the couch with the Rubio shirt was maybe the horniest thing we've probably seen all week collectively. Povey, I'm going to go to you. What's kind of your thoughts on the signing? He seems to have kind of fitted in fairly well. I mean, obviously, he's been with the club for a few months now. It seems pretty positive that he's kind of fitting in all right.
Yeah, handsome big boy. That's what I've got to say. Obviously, it's a position that we probably needed that another player. I don't know, man. It's hard to say. He's probably not going to. Stenhousemuir might be a wee opportunity for him. It's hard to
great shout.
Hard to bring anyone in the way we're playing now. As we've kind of done the Fitzwater, Obelai, and boys chat, but yeah, bring it on. It's good to have it. I think Stenhousemuir would be a good opportunity to see what he's made of, and yeah, can't wait to see him. I can't really say much, to be honest. I did watch those friendlies on my... Oh, wait, I shouldn't say this. I might have had my friendlies on at work. But, yeah. No,
that day, but...
Scotland's premier educator over here. Like.
You striking for? You're striking when you're watching football at work.
And, I'm like, no drums today, kids. The Livy game's on. I'm joking. It must have been over lunch, on my non-contact time. Yeah, that's exactly when it was. But I can't really remember much about it, to be honest, because I was too busy
teaching, working. Aye, very good.
Maybe cut that.
Inverted commas, working. Tam, I'm just going to flick to you very quickly. So if Povey made a great point, starting him at Stenhousemuir. I think it's a great opportunity to kind of try him out. Who would be his centre back partner for Stenhousemuir if he did play for you?
Jesus, way to make it easy.
Take that.
Probably Boys. I think stick with Boys.
Mhm.
He clearly needs the experience in the game time. And that could be a really interesting game for him because he's not going to be coming up against wee stupid quick strikers. He's going to have probably a bit of a battle on his hands, and he can handle it for sure. But it could be a good experience for him to kind of. It's always, I think it'll be interesting to see how when a lad comes up for down south, how they do against like a lower league opposition. Could be quite interesting. Bit of an eye opener what it's like to play at Steny with the terraces behind him. It would be cool. I think.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I'm gutted I'm missing it. I've been wanting like a wee stinky away game like that for ages. So I'll need to try and get some. I'm sure Steny have a stream actually, so hopefully try and get it. I can't imagine that'll go down too well when all my friends are in one place and I'm like, sorry lads, I'm just away to watch Steny away.
I'm coming to the game.
I know,
is there the boy for the terrace that view from the terrace that does the commentary on it or something?
Yeah, or is he the stadium announcer?
He was the match day announcer, and that's got to be one of the worst match day announcers I've ever heard in my life. Like, please welcome onto the park, Stone Cold Steny. And then the fucking Stone Cold Steve Austin theme music from the WWF is playing over the speakers. I'm just
sounds
are
brilliant.
you actually for real right now?
I like that. That's a Liam Innes move when he like makes the jump into the main man. I reckon he'll start doing weird shit like that. All right, so let's move on to our final part of the show where we're going to try our new feature of Would You Rather. Now, this feature is basically just because I love talking about this in the pub, especially with people who don't really know me that well, because it really does make them think, but also it goes either they actually want to keep speaking to me or they think I'm a total weirdo. So I'm going to do my first pub one and I want to see what your thoughts are, right? I've used this one quite a lot before we go into our Livy ones. Okay, so boys, would you rather have what's it does on your fingers forever? You lick them off, it just replaces itself. You've got cheesy hands at all times. Or do you have like stringy bits of like bacon or fat in every single one of your teeth? Every time you take one out, it just replaces itself for the rest of your life. Discuss.
I hate Wotsits.
Really?
So,
how can you hate Wotsits? They're class
I'm
crisps.
not a fan of cheesy crisps. Sorry, just a controversial opinion to start us off.
Wow, you're off the fence now, bro.
But, where do we stand on gloves?
Well, you can have, if you wear gloves for the rest of your life, it can be your thing, but I wouldn't want to wear
go
gloves.
wearing gloves for the rest of my life. I was thinking that the bits of bacon would be alright, but it wouldn't be, it would be shit.
All the time. Like you can just feel it in your mouth at all times. It's minging.
So
You're talking to folk and smiling and bleh.
And also, I'm a software developer, so I think I'm meant to have like what's it dust all over my keyboard and that. I think that's that's what I'm really meant to be doing. So yeah, I'm going for Wotsits.
Nice. I've got one for Wotsits. I'm going for Wotsits just because I fucking love that cheesy dust, even though it would be minging touching stuff. Pove, dust or bacon teeth?
It would be annoying, like playing piano and that. Like, imagine cleaning the piano all the time.
All the time, man. Oh,
crumbs in between the keys. That would do me. Playing piano with gloves isn't exactly much fun either. Like,
I'm sure you've got silk gloves in your locker somewhere.
Mate, I love a pair of gloves. Like, to be honest, but I quite like bacon. But like, and
all the time.
Tell you what, but say I was starving, could just like pick some bacon out and have some bacon.
It's the fat bits though. It's not like the flavoursome bits, and you got bacon.
Right. That makes it way shitter. I was thinking like decent bits of bacon, like
No, it's the fat stringy bits, bro.
It's got to be what's it?
You know when you eat a bit of corn in the cob and all the bits of the corn stuck in your teeth, it would be basically the rest of your life. But instead of corn,
I don't want to be. I want to be a sheep here. I'm going what's it? Fuck it.
Nice. Owen, final, and then we'll move on to our Livy ones.
I'll make this nice and easy. I'm going what's it hands as well.
Nice. Fucking love that, man. I love the Watsons. Right. Okay. Let's move on to our Livingston related ones. Tam, you were kind of first to reply in the group chat, so I'm going to go to your would you rather first. Now, remember, folks, please play at home. If you have listened in, let us know your thoughts. But also, if this kind of goes well, we don't know, we're going to try and get your would you rathers too. We'll bring it back. So we'll kind of open it up. And if you've got any that you'd quite fancy doing, we can talk about it, put it into DMs or whatever. That'd be quite funny. So, Tam, let's start with you, my man. What is your would you rather?
So I'm going to base my first one around like historical things that may have happened.
Cool.
So, would you rather David Fernandez ends up being a massive success at Celtic, he never ever comes back on loan to Livy, and we don't win the CIS Cup, or
This is horrible.
or David Fernandez decides to go on Toke Livy instead of the Ammon View? Discuss.
Fucking hell. Wow.
Instantly for me here, that is a very, very difficult one to choose, and it's not because of the second option. It's not actually because I mean, unlike the lads from down the road, we have interviewed Mr. Fernandez, and he is a top guy. He's like one of the, like, without a doubt. I mean, we've had many, like every single guest that we've had on this podcast has been fantastic. But David Fernandez just kind of brought, and I think even still, us thinking about the fact that we interviewed him, still brings a smile to our face. I would love to have seen his career like totally ham up, you know, and for him to have been the success that he deserved to be. But then there is the not winning the CIS Cup thing, because then we wouldn't have seen that pass, which I regard as the greatest pass ever in certainly in Scottish football history.
We know.
Let Todd Levy have a wee chat with him. That's where I'm going. Let Todd Levy have a wee chat with him.
Yeah, I'm going to
I'm
keep
not giving them. I'm not giving anyone his email address or anything like that. But I would. I think. Yeah. I like having the CIS Cup final in my back pocket.
Yeah, me. I'm very, very quick, very simple. Quite neat. I would say, now I've thought about it, the grand scheme of things for Livingston's history, winning that CIS Cup is affected so many people instead of just the five of us. Good maths. In the past, that was one of the best. Even as a kid growing up, that was just so incredible to see. So CIS Cup. I'd rather have that. So yeah, Talk Livy, you're more than welcome to speak to our Fernandez in a hypothetical situation. Ovi?
Best day of my life, CIS Cup, so it's gotta be that. Second best day of my life, getting to interview David Fernandez, though, so and that wasn't hypothetical.
Brilliant. Okay, Tam, good one to get started. I like that. Okay, right, Povey, have you got one ready at the moment? Are you ready to go? Okay.
Aye.
Right, Mr. Povey, take the floor. So, would you rather?
So, would you rather? So, Livy finish third in the league, but every game next season you have to sing a cappella, no accompaniment. You have to sing before the match. You have to sing "Come On, Livingston" as the players are coming out for every single game. Or Livy win the Scottish Cup this season, but at the end of the game, you have to like go in the goals, bend over, and every single player and Livingston fan gets to take a punt at a ball at your arse.
This is superb. This is what we're here for. I said before we started, Povey's one is going to be weird and class. That is brilliant. Tam, you go first because you delivered that last one. Fucking hell. Good luck.
Unlike most members of this podcast, I do not have a musical bone in my body. I cannot sing. I cannot play any instruments. And I especially, when I say I cannot sing, I really cannot sing. So I think option one would be incredibly painful for everyone involved. I mean, if people would know that, we finished third, and now the reason why we finished third is that Thomas needs to sing before every game, I could maybe deal with that. I'm sure it would go viral. I'm sure it would get plenty of views for the podcast as well. I'd be that guy that sings before games terribly. But I need to go with the second one. I've seen a lot of people kick a ball. I've seen you kick a ball up over. You're not hitting me.
Whoa.
I've seen your arse, mate. I'm not missing that.
Hey, maybe a few years ago, mate. Maybe a few years ago. You wouldn't have missed me then. But no, I'm going for the second one. I'll fancy my chances. Scottish Cup would be class. We trip to
Bear mind,
in Scotland.
bear mind, Thomas, just before you say that, it is live on the BBC. Like, it's live for everyone to see. Like, that's part of the celebrations at the end.
Do I get to go in the open top bus parade in the boulevard afterwards?
Mate, you'll be in hospital.
That's all right. That's close to the stadium. Once you get out, you can go and celebrate. No, I'm going for option two.
That's brilliant. I've
Nice
got
one.
my answers, but Owen, do you want to go next?
I am going to apply just a little bit of logic into this, and I'm going to take option one. And the reason why I'm going to take option one is because I want to be nice to the club, because I reckon finishing third in the league and getting into Europe and then having to sing in front of like a bunch of Irish folk at Cork City or whatever, I think that'd be a good laugh, to be honest.
Get into Europe for winning the Scottish Cup, though.
Yeah, I was just about to say.
Yeah, but the other piece of logic is I think there is more money if you finish third in the league as opposed to winning the Scottish Cup. So I think I would getting third in the league. I think there's more money if you get third in the league than winning the Scottish Cup. Because let's face it, if we get to the Scottish Cup final, it'll be like Livingston versus fucking Motherwell or some shit like that, and the stadium won't even be half full. So
So it's only like 10,000 folk kicking a ball.
yeah, it's only going to be exactly. It's only going to be 10,000 foot. So even when you include the ticket money or 50% of the ticket money, it's not going to be worth a fuck. So for me, I would rather that we finish best of the rest, and then I will more than happily serenade every player personally as well. I'll give every single player an individual version of the song for the whole of next season, home and all of the away games that I'd be able to get to.
Wow.
But that's my choice.
Which won't be very many, but from your work situation. So well done, played that.
There's another caveat to the poll.
Cool. Well, it'd be no surprise with my pals that they'll think that I'll be quite happy to take 10,000 balls up my arse. So I'm going to go for something we've never achieved. We've never won the Scottish Cup. We've been third. We've won the CIS. We've never won the Scottish Cup. So I'm going to say, for the greater good of, for another bit of silverware to the cabinet, I'm going to say I'm going to take 10,000 balls to the arse. From that, I think, imagine that would just be hilarious, just that happening. But Scottish Cup for me all the way,
And 10,000 balls on your
and
arse.
10,000 balls clattering off my cheeks again. I've done, bloody hell! Right, okay, so I'm going to go for mine, and then we'll finish up in Owen. So my one is quite simply. So do you remember Gladiators in the 90s, right? So one of my favourite shows growing up. It was so much fun. So I'm going to say about who would you rather fight, right? So in the Gladiators, when you get the two podiums and the two kind of cushion sticks and the helmet, right? Who would you rather batter or get battered by? James Penrice or Bruce Anderson? Or who do you think you could take? So who would you rather, Penners or Anderson in a Gladiator sponge fight?
I'll take them both. Fuck it. At the same time.
You hit one penalty and the big dick energy that's coming off you the last couple of weeks, mate. It's mental.
Yeah, honestly. Well, I'll take Anderson just because.
But
Just
do you
'cause.
think I reckon he'd be nippy, man. He'd be quick, speed moves. I reckon he would like get because I'm quite big. I reckon he would hit a few in the nuts and stuff like that. I reckon he's dirty.
I see this. I don't know. See that bloody after that thunder whack or whatever we're calling it. That Penners did. I wouldn't take one of them on the buzz. Like I wouldn't trust him. So nah, I'm taking Bruce Anderson.
Right, one for Bruce. Tam?
That's again tough. Bruce, I'll go for Bruce as well. I reckon, once we get down here, I can take him. I'm a bit taller than him. I'm definitely bigger than him. As Povey right pointed out in the last question. Cheers, mate. Appreciate that.
Fucking hell, fat shaming people on this podcast, man. Povey, you've got serious big dick, horrible energy now, man. I wish you never scored that pen.
Just a bit hurtful.
Sorry.
Yeah, Bruce. I'll take Bruce. I'll steal Povey's answer and go with Bruce.
Like that. Owen, who are we going? Are we going full house here?
No, I'll take. I'm taking Penners. I'll take Penners. I think Bruce has got like a bit of a mean streak in him, and I think he's got some power in those shoulders, eh? So I mean, he's going to knock a fat boy like me off the podium, not a bother.
You do realise that Penners went to Dean's High, and only the hardest cunts go to Dean's High.
Hi, Thomas Fro, the hardest man in Livingston. Brilliant.
I was at Envy for 2 years.
You're soft as fuck. You went to Blerno, same as we went to Blerno. We are wee soft lads, 100%. We are long sleeved soft lads, through and through.
Oh, I'm a long sleeve boy, like a long sleeve boy. But no, I think Penners is too nice. Penners definitely wouldn't go for a headshot, whereas I think Bruce Anderson would go for a headshot then a nut shot. You know what I mean? Like that'll basically be his stabbing action. Will be stab, he'd pause.
Do you know, I think he'll want to try and get his own back as well. After we made him look like an absolute fanny on the Tony Mac pitch with whose boots did he have on again? It's apparently his excuse, but still.
Stacey's, I think. Stacey Coleman.
Stacey's boots on. Doesn't matter, mate. We pumped you. And the thing is, I reckon Penners would chop your head off. I think Penners would go straight away, speedy chop. I agree. I can't remember who said it. That shot was fierce. I reckon same. Thunder wank straight to the temple.
Although, just thinking, man, just give him a fucking shot of sewers or whatever, and he'll be falling off the thing like
we tried to. He was right for the shots of the Play of the Year award.
Exactly. Give him a few shots, he'll be steaming. That'll do.
Cool, brilliant. Okay, Owen, last but not least, I'm hoping it's something is equally as obscure.
Would you rather we started every game for the rest of the season with Isma Gonçalves up front, essentially leaving us playing with 10 men, or we actually just play with 10 men for every game for the rest of the season?
Woofed.
I'd take Isma. Even despite everything, I think. Nah, fuck it, 10 men.
I was like, wow, he's going to change. And then
exactly. For positive Povey to come out there. Remember when we signed him and Povey was like, no, man, he's going to get a goal. He's going to get a goal and he's going to just fucking bang them into the row. Oh, he's going to be fucking excellent. And I was like, no, I'd just rather play without him.
I love that flip-flop Povey. That's big energy, like. Cool. I would go for it. I would keep him in the team just as an extra man. You never know to get in the way of stuff, because I think that's probably the most positive thing that he would do. He would just get in the way.
The only thing he's getting in the way of is another player on the fucking bench.
Meow. Excuse me. I'd keep him just to get in the way, and also it's funny. He's like a panto villain, isn't he? Everybody boo him when he comes when he comes on. Fucking boo! I love the panto villain. Come on, damn you!
I'll keep him for the sole reason of luring defenders into a false sense of security. You play him up top, The defenders are, we've got a piss easy game today. This is going to be an 8-bar. And then you've got Noobs on the left running past them. They have an easy time for the first 5 minutes. They don't need to do much running. The man's got the pace of a snail. Then we get the big guns around them, and them being lured into that false sense of security means that we just batter teams every week, and he just kind of stands there doing shuttle runs in the middle, as per usual. So I'll keep him in the team. Also, he might be good in a wall. We can see a free kick. He can stand in a wall. I think that's kind of what you were getting at, Jake, and getting away stuff.
That's it.
He can take a booking. He can go and abuse a referee, because all referees are dicks, as we've already established today.
Yeah.
He can abuse a referee. He could karate kick an opposite fan. Eric Cantona, we're playing against Rangers. One of the wee fannies throws a flare in the park. Up, bang, karate kick.
Karate chop.
Yep. So I think there's options. I think there's definitely a role for him at Livingston Football Club.
A role.
But it's not scoring goals. That's for sure.
The roll is the one that's sitting on his seat every fucking morning when he gets a bacon roll.
Oh man.
So bad. So bad.
You're lucky in editing this week, mate.
The only
Those still need to repeat it, Jake. Still need to repeat it.
I can't repeat it.
That's the episode title.
Is on his seat in the morning, which is
Isma's bacon roll.
bacon roll. Keep that.
Isma's bacon roll is definitely the title.
It was funny. It was funnier in my head.
Man,
It's fine. You didn't need to explain it. Like, we got it. Like, we understood it in the first bit.
I really fell off my seat there. Fuck me, that was so funny.
oh, that was a belter.
Oh, man.
Oh, that was the worst thing I've ever heard. That was so fucking good. Oh, and you've made my night. Thank you very much.
That stays in, man. That's the funniest thing ever.
Fucking what?
Right, I've got another one.
Yeah, go with him.
Just to depress you massively. So, would you rather Livingston go into admin 3.0 and a liquidated, so we no longer have a club to support, or Falkirk rise up the leagues and become the first team to break the old firm's grip on Scottish football and win the Premier League?
The latter, obviously.
Come on up. Falkirk, come on up. Didn't give a fuck.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, I'm actually wanting anyone to fucking win the league rather than Rangers and Celtic. Fuck it, honestly. Like,
I agree.
And obviously the alternative, just like, I honestly don't think I would go to the football. I'd probably go to Scotland games, but I would probably like float about I don't know, lower divisions, like maybe, I don't know. But I don't know what I would do with myself, to be honest, so it's not an option.
I want to pick another shite. I wouldn't say Livy are not shiters because we actually have a bit of success, but I'd like to pick someone that almost might rise through the leagues or some kind of connection like that. Obviously, kind of float about as well. So I don't know, like something like Queen's Park or something. Like, I don't know, something just to.
Just going to suggest Queen's Park, like.
Well, with their massive new stadium, they might.
Tiny.
They've been taking a while building that. I was still working there when they just started the fucking construction on that. It was fucking years.
It looks like shit, and it's a bit sad because they're looking pretty good, are they not?
Really good, top of the league.
Aye, pretty good then.
Aye, they're good. That's Simon Murray. Was it boys? Girls don't like boys. Girls like Simon Murray. Is one of my favourite chants actually.
That's a good one, man.
You're such really good. That's a throwback.
It's such an emo tune. It's actually me all over. Like, and we need someone called something Murray so we can nick that just so I can sing it. Thanks very much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please check out our previous episodes that include interviews with Livingston legends such as David Fernandez, Barry Wilson, John Guthrie, Sean Byrne, and many more. Check out our social media. Twitter and Instagram is @AlmaviewPod. Facebook and YouTube, just search for Almaview Podcast. And make sure to subscribe to wherever you stream your podcasts to be notified about when we drop new content. Forza Livy, hope to see you all next week.